Welcome to Wawa Sandwire. Today we're talking about the seismic political event that just shook Sabah, the total obliteration of the Democratic Action Party's presence in the recent state election.
Total obliteration is probably the only way to describe it. This isn't just a few seats lost here and there.
No, not at all.
We are looking at a party that went in contesting 8 seats, the very core of their presence in the state.
Yeah.
And they came out with precisely 0.
0. It's an absolute political rout that I think blindsided almost everyone. We really need to unpack how a major national party goes from such a strong footing to having absolutely no representation in a single election cycle.
It's a political extinction event, at least at the state level. When a party with the Democratic Action Party's history and resources gets completely shut out, it signals something much deeper is happening.
Deeper than just a few unpopular candidates.
Oh, much deeper. It suggests the fundamental agreement between the party and its voters was completely broken.
Let's start with the devastating numbers, because that contrast is just so stark.
It is. The reality is brutal. They put candidates in 8 different constituencies across Sabah.
And the final tally confirms 0 wins, a 0% success rate.
And that's what's so jaw-dropping when you look back just a few years. In the 2020 state election, they contested 7 seats.
And they won 6 of them.
6 of 7. That's an 86% winning percentage. The only one they didn't get back then was Bingkor.
So we're talking about a party that was a powerful, established force. They held 6 crucial seats. They were controlling the urban narrative.
Exactly. So to go from that kind of dominance to being completely shut out, that's not just a bad night. That is a political catastrophe.
It has to be. It suggests that their support didn't just fade. It migrated somewhere else very, very quickly.
It didn't just slow down. It reversed. It tells us their traditional voter base, often seen as the non-Bumiputra voters in big urban centers, either felt abandoned
or they were just more convinced by someone else's message.
They were actively convinced by the localized narratives from Parti Warisan Sabah and Gabungan Rakyat Sabah.
Okay, so to really get this, we have to look at the seats themselves, the high-profile casualties, because these weren't just any losses.
Not at all. The list it reads like a who's who of the party's leadership in Sabah. The first huge shock was Likas.
Highly symbolic.
Very. This is where the Sabah Democratic Action Party chairman, Datuk Fung Jin Zi, was defeated. When your state chief loses his own established stronghold, it signals the problem goes right to the very top.
Of course. If the leader falls, the entire operation's credibility is just gone in an instant. But it didn't stop at Likas.
No. The loss in Tanjung Aru was, in some ways, even more stunning from a tactical point of view.
Because of who they ran there?
Exactly. The sitting Kota Kinabalu member of parliament, Datuk Chan Fung Hin. For a federal MP, a major national figure, to contest a state seat and still lose, that just shows a profound misreading of the local mood.
That move, fielding a sitting MP, it felt like a high-stakes gamble. They must have thought his popularity and the federal unity government's backing would be enough.
An assumption that turned out to be completely, utterly wrong.
So just to get the full scale of it?
The full scale is defeat across all 8. Luyang, Likas, Tanjung Aru, Kapian, Kinabutan, Elapura, Panjang Papat, and Sri Tanjung.
Wow. And the crucial question then is, who benefited? Who stepped into that vacuum?
The primary winner was, without a doubt, Parti Warisan Sabah. They swept up the majority of those former strongholds.
So places like Likas, Luyang,
Kapian, Elapura, Tanjang Papat, and Sri Tanjung all went to Warisan. It shows their resurgence, their consolidation of that urban coastal vote. The vote didn't disappear, it just moved.
That's a really important point. It wasn't a rejection of opposition politics. It was a rejection of the national party brand. But what about Kinabutan?
Right. Kinabutan was retained by Gabungan Rakyat Sabah, which complicates the story a little.
How so?
It shows that while the tide was running against the Democratic Action Party, the voters didn't just flock to one place. Warisan dominated the urban centers with a strong regional message, while GRS held their ground elsewhere. It's a huge endorsement for parties that are rooted firmly in Sabah.
Which brings us to the strategy, or I guess the strategic blunder.
It really was a blunder. They didn't just lose the 6 seats they already held.
Yeah.
The bedrock of their influence. They also failed miserably trying to expand into 2 new seats.
Tanjung Aru and Kinabutan?
Yes. It just suggests a kind of organizational blindness. Why try to expand when your foundation is clearly cracking?
You have to wonder, was it hubris? Did they just think seats like Luyang and Likas were impregnable fortresses? That their voters had nowhere else to turn?
It's highly likely. There's something in political science called stronghold neglect.
Yeah.
You assume a certain demographic will always vote for you, so you stop doing the hard grassroots work.
And the Sabah voters showed that they are much more sophisticated than that.
They absolutely did. They prioritized local issues, local identity.
And think of the resources, the ringgit they must have poured into trying to win Tanjung Aru and Kinabutan. What if that had been spent defending Likas?
It's impossible to say for sure, but the allocation was clearly flawed. They were pushing into new territory while failing to see the power of that Sabah for Sabahans narrative that Party Warisan Sabah was using so effectively.
So here's a question for you listening. What do you think was behind that decision to expand? Was it pressure from the national leadership to show growth? Or did their own polling just completely miss this massive shift in sentiment?
I think it points to an intelligence failure. They drastically overestimated their own appeal, maybe thinking the stability of the unity government at the federal level would automatically translate to state support.
But Sabah politics just doesn't work that way.
It's fiercely independent. When your own state chairman loses in a place you've dominated for years, it tells you everything you need to know. The voters chose local leadership over national affiliation.
Which means this isn't just a bad election night. This fundamentally disrupts the balance of power in Sabah. The local parties are now, without a doubt, in the driver's seat.
Precisely. And we have to look at this in the broader Malaysian political context. 0 seats means 0 voice for the Democratic Action Party in the Sabah State Assembly.
They're completely shut out. No influence on policy, no say in the budget.
It's a massive blow to their relevance in East Malaysia. That's the long-term cost here. For a major national party, losing an entire state presence like this, it's crippling. It's a blow to morale, to funding, to their entire national strategy.
This is more than just losing 8 seats. It's losing critical leverage.
And that's where the federal implication is so important. This result weakens the East Malaysian bloc that the national unity government depends on.
Right. How does the prime minister manage an ally that the voters in an entire state have just said is irrelevant?
It shifts the power dynamic. It gives Gabungan Rakyat Sabah and Parti Warisan Sabah much more leverage in any negotiation with Kuala Lumpur.
The Democratic Action Party can't even act as a check or balance within the state anymore. They've gone from being major players to just spectators.
And the voters sent a powerful message about regional autonomy. They consolidated their votes around local parties, signaling a clear desire for local representation. They explicitly rejected the idea that a peninsular-based party should dominate their legislature.
So it really was an indictment of their strategy. They failed to localize their message. They completely underestimated the pull of regional identity.
We have to wonder, did they stop campaigning on Sabah issues and start campaigning just on federal stability? Because if they did, the voters delivered a very, very clear verdict on that.
So given the sheer magnitude of this defeat, what can the Democratic Action Party possibly do to rebuild in Sabah? Is this a temporary setback, or are we seeing a permanent reconfiguration of the state's political map where they just don't have a place anymore?
That is the defining question, and it will take years of painful grassroots work for them to even begin to answer it.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.